I'm not sleeping very well at the moment. It's 4 in the morning. I sleep. I I try to maintain some sort of schedule. Go to sleep at night, wake up sometime after, you know, sleep. But I fall asleep during the day, wake up after an hour, feel like shit, and then when I try to sleep at night, I can't. So I just stare at the ceiling in the dark until the light starts coming up. It's day 14, or it's day 15 because it's 4 in the morning, so that may constitute another day. 2 weeks of this. So this is Still Life with Zombies. The major news networks are now having their reporters report from their homes, so there's still news, and none of it is good. HBO News with Idina Menzel and Timothy Oliphant, they're still reporting from NYC. Tim's got a beard now. Looks good. But they look exhausted. They both do. Today's news is that the only places without some sort of outbreak are the islands off the coast of Australia, like Indonesia and New Zealand. Good job, you guys. Not sure what you're doing or when that will stop being a thing that you can do, but hold the fort as long as you can because this sucks beyond belief. In talking to my parents today, I discovered No. I knew they were considering this. I just wasn't sure what kind of plan they had in mind or when they were going to enact it. They're in Florida, and they're now taking up residence in their local church with a bunch of other congregators, heavily armed congregators. And I know it seems like, of course, they're heavily armed. You know what's happening, but their church had been armed long before that because we had a bunch of school shootings or other forms of shootings, lots of shootings. So they had people in their congregation who were part of their own security force just in case someone came into their church to shoot people. And my dad's one of them because he's ex-military and has guns. I think around 7 guns. I should know this, as I would be bequeathed them in his will. And right now, sure, bequeath me your guns, Dad. Before all this, not sure what I would have done with them. I'm not a gun enthusiast. I just think me having a gun here with me in my apartment, or 7 of them, would have made me aware of having them. And good days and bad days, people have them. That's all I'm going to say about that. I mean, the bit that I have trouble with the whole guns in church thing because, faith and all that. And I mean, yeah, people can shoot up churches. Dylan Roof comes to mind because stupid racists can also have guns. But aside from what happened in Charleston, which was racially motivated because that guy wanted to help start a race war. Okay, in the case of my parents' church, see, I don't know how to address this without stepping all over my own argument. I don't know. I'm very tired. I don't know. Where do you draw the line between having faith in God's plan and thinking you need guns to protect a church when you think God also protects you for liking him? And I'm not phrasing this correctly at all, but yeah, if you're a believer and you believe God has a plan, then does that also not mean that you getting shot in a church was preordained? These are 4 in the morning thoughts that, since everything's going to hell right now, I don't feel one way or the other about throwing that out there. If you survive a car crash, it's God's plan. If you don't, it's God's plan. If you get cancer, it's God's plan. If you survive it, it's God's plan. If you get hit by a bus after coming out of a doctor's office after he just told you that you're cancer-free, it's God's plan. He's playing the long game. This is all planned out in advance, so the game is rigged. That's why it's just friggin' stupid for professional football teams to pray before a game and thank God if they win, because both of them are doing it. So did one team win because they prayed harder? God has a design. It involves the Patriots being really good for so friggin' long. And I don't want to get into my feelings about watching a whole season of football when only one team gets to win the whole thing in the end, and all the other teams, their fans, they just get to feel like shit until the new season starts. It's just, I don't want to get into it. I don't. We don't have sports right now. We may never have sports again beyond Thunderdome. End of this. I listened to Flora Cash today on repeat. Just one song. You're Somebody Else. Just played it over and over again on my phone, sitting on the roof, staring out of Manhattan. I could see the Empire State Building from where I am, from on my roof. The lights have been red, white, and blue for a long time now, maybe a week or longer. And I listened to that song over and over again until my phone ran out of juice and I had to go recharge it. I hate my phone. It doesn't hold on to a charge for very long. And I need it to check in with my parents and my friends, and I should probably do that more often, but I don't, because they may be busy fighting off the horde, and I don't want to interrupt. I would never forgive myself if anyone I knew was just about to stab a zombie in the head, and then I send them a text, and their phone vibrates, and they're like, "Ooh, I have a message," and that brief distraction causes them to get killed. I am very good at creating concerns like that in my mind. Oh, and I got a heads up from my credit card company. I started reading emails in my spam folder because I felt like it. Best not to get too deep with that. Apparently. So if you listen to the show, whatever, you know that I was complaining about Netflix raising my monthly fee from $12.99 to $764.99. And apparently, well, I knew that I couldn't have been the only one. That would have been just a serious clerical error. But anyway, my credit card company is suing Netflix. Apparently, suing is still a thing that we as Americans or corporations can do, but they're suing, or at least stopping payment on Netflix's ask. And as consequence, Netflix is saying that they will have to shut down in 3 days. And this is not just me reading spams, but also story enough to be reported on by some news outlets. So good for my credit card company, I guess. No word whether or not any money will be refunded, credit put back. I'm guessing not, but no more Netflix probably, and I only have Netflix because there's enough there, so I may not have Netflix in 3 days, and I should probably see if I can finish Breaking Bad before it gets cut off. But I haven't wanted to watch it in a few days. I'm not really in the mood, whatever constitutes a mood right now. All this is unimportant until it is, and people can't see The Office anymore, I guess, or the first 3 seasons of Arrested Development. This is all neither here nor there. I'm so tired right now. I'm to the point of getting that weird energy that hits you when you've gone without sleep or substantial amounts of food, and everything is distorted and strange and bright and shiny. And what will happen when I don't have Netflix anymore? Who knows? Probably nothing. We'll see. Feel free to comment on what you would do without Netflix when there's still Hulu, and there's a lot out there to watch when wanting to take a break from fearing for your lives. Have at it. And I have no idea if this is affecting regular TV at all. I don't have regular TV. I don't like commercials. I don't like ads in general. That's why I have AdBlock Plus. And I hope they survive this, whoever they are, and however they do what they do. They are part of God's plan for me. Well, that didn't make any sense, so let's move on. No, let's backtrack. So yeah, my parents now live in a church, which, if you believe in Jesus and his teachings, is probably the best place for you in your mind. If you're a homeless person, should be the place you should be able to find shelter in, but can't. And if you're Joel Osteen, it's where you could help people going through a crisis, but don't. I'm not a fan. He's got too many teeth, and they're really big. Also, hurricanes and what not to do when they happen. So my folks are settled in a church. Not every member was invited to hole up there, by the way. There's only so much room in there. There had to be a limit. My parents just happened to be on that list. I'm not sure what the prerequisites were. But my mom, when we're talking, she brought up Revelations, the book of Revelations, because that's where her mind is. She sees this kind of destruction, and once more, God's plan. Okay, now, if you haven't guessed, I'm not a believer, much to my parents' chagrin. They love me anyway. It works out somehow. I think they think that at the last moment I'll have a change of heart, or God will know that even though I'm what one might refer to as a sinner or whatever, doesn't matter. It all works out in the end in her mind. And if for whatever reason we are not to be reunited here on earth, which, let's face it, looks along the lines of not likely, then we will see each other again in heaven for eternity. I love my parents. We're cool like that. Lots of love going back and forth. Would I enjoy hanging out with them for all eternity? I can do a week of visiting them. By day 3, we're arguing about politics, or I'm trying to show them how their computer works. They know how it works, but they're not experts. I'm not sure hanging out with them for eternity would improve our relations beyond what they already entail, is the thing. Now, from what I understand, when you get to heaven, all of the secrets of the universe are revealed to you, and you can shed all that nasty baggage you carried around with you while you were alive, because it's all meaningless, which begs the question, if you think that's what's going to happen when you get there, then what's stopping you from getting a head start on that? If you think that you won't hate everything you don't understand once you get there, because God will have provided the answer as to why you feel like that, if you know that's coming, then why not prepare a little for it? Because that just sounds lazy. Like if you know there's a test coming up and you don't study because you can pray for an A, and then you get an A. If you get to heaven, you get an A. A for effort. No, not effort. You did a few things right, I guess. You still hate the things you don't understand, but you knew that God had your back, and he would let you know where you screwed up, because you now have the secrets of the universe. And all that got into my head, so I started, let's call it a thought experiment. What if my parents go to heaven because they believe and I don't, so I go to hell? That last minute prayer I had planned was interrupted by that zombie that decided to eat me, and I was busy trying to bash its head in so I could live, but whoops, didn't work out so well. So they're in heaven and I'm in hell. Them's the breaks. And they understand how the universe works now, and I am burning or being poked with the fire, or forced to watch Adam Sandler movies, or the Dante thing of feeling God's absence. You may have your own version of hell. Leave a comment. So they're where they are, and it's nice, and I'm where I am, and it sucks. So will the amount of wisdom that they have gained in understanding how all this works mean that they are completely okay with me being tortured for the rest of eternity? It's a fun little thought experiment. You can try it at home. Does their wisdom outweigh my suffering and their love for me? Does being in heaven and knowing all things mean that love is dumb and it's too bad about your kid, but it is what it is, so you don't have to think about that anymore? Or will you, whilst in heaven, will you spend eternity looking down at me, burning, being poked, all that? And what separates your heaven from my hell at that point? What stops that feeling you had for me so you can have a more enjoyable time in the afterlife? Does God give you like a facsimile of me, like one of those sex robots they're building in Japan without the gross implications? Not me, but a construct of me, so you think I'm there when I'm really not. And you and my facsimile will never talk about politics ever again, or I'll just start agreeing with you about everything, and we'll always be having a family dinner or looking through the photos on your phone. They have smartphones in heaven that never need charging, and you will not even realize that I'm a stranger because my real essence is soaking in a boiling hot tub, and manicures involve having my fingernails torn out on a daily basis, then growing back. Again, feel free to comment. And how do you enjoy heaven when not everybody you love is there with you? That's my scope or thesis. No, not scope. Thesis. That's my one man's perspective. I hope you enjoyed it. Sleep tight. See, looking at zombies, it's hard under this mindset, in this thought experiment. It's hard not to, under these terms, it's hard not to think of zombies already having achieved the wisdom of heaven. And I know what that sounds like. Sounds stupid, but they are walking around and killing and eating people, having been forcibly made to forget what they used to be, which is human. I mean, we look at them like these soulless creatures wandering around. Ooh, there's someone alive over there. Let's eat him or her or they. But maybe they don't remember. And for all we know, they have received the wisdom of heaven that in our current state, we are useless and no better than food to be digested and shit out. Do zombies shit? I mean, they seem to eat all the time. They have to shit, don't they? Someone goes in, something has to come out, or else they're just going to be fat zombies. And I have not seen any zombies gain weight, so they have to shit, right? Or if they are God's little wisdoms, then perhaps what they eat goes straight up to heaven, and heaven is just a sewage plant or some kind of weird Harry Potter thing I read about, like, happen. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm exhausting myself, and I could probably sleep now or not. I have two options in regards to that. This is all planned. Like, share, and don't die.